my name is Steve Herman. I am the author of Mediumship Mastery, the Ultimate Guide, which is available on Amazon. And the whole purpose of my YouTube channel, which this video that you're watching is part of, is mediumship development and mediumship training. I teach mediumship full-time, worldwide, in many countries, internationally, and I'm really into helping people become the most effective and the most efficient vehicles for the spirit world to work through. And one of the most important aspects of mediumship is the reverence that needs to be there with any act of spirit communication. Because as far as I'm concerned, the process of mediumship communication is sacred. It involves the spiritual. It's not just something that should be done on a casual or superficial type of level. Let's do some mediumship. Let's communicate with the spirit world just as a way to pass the time. Mediumship is not cheap entertainment. Of course, if we watch TV, there's all these different shows out now where they have mediums. You know, they're in the ride share and they're a driver for ride share and they give people messages, where they walk up to people in Walmart. They're driving through the fast food chain, the drive-through, and they give the person giving them their order a message. Can you imagine that? Where's the reverence for what's taking place? That's not what it's about. It's not about entertainment. Oh yes, you definitely want to have fun when you're doing mediumship. But you want the spirituality. Of course, sometimes people think, well, spirituality is rigid. But I'll tell you this, it's not about being rigid or about being uptight. Spirituality is having respect, having reverence for the process of what's taking place. Because when you're talking about communication with the spirit world, it's not just helping people here on the physical plane, it's helping people in the spirit dimension as well. It brings healing and spiritual illumination to people here physically, but it also brings healing and light to those in the spirit world as well, and it helps them, sometimes even more so, with their spiritual progression. And spiritual progression is about getting in touch with who we are as eternal souls. And when we do that, we're also getting in touch with God. Each one of us, we have this physical body, and yet, as mediumship demonstrates, we're not our physical bodies. The personality, the consciousness continues after its destruction. So, when we talk about mediumship, it's not something that should just be done in a very superficial, shallow type of way. There has to be depth and spirituality with what's taking place. And the spirit people, they put so much emphasis, they put so much effort into trying to get close to us, to work with us, to make us aware of what the higher purpose of life is. And yes, they're going to help us on a practical level with our material situations, but it's not fortune telling. It's not just telling somebody something on a superficial type of level. You know, let's have a party. Let's play with the Ouija board. It's 2 a.m. Let's see who's going to come through. We can all be drunk. I'll tell you this. I used to do a lot of home gatherings. And that's where I would go into someone's residence. Usually it was a residence. And there'd be a group of family or friends. I'd have a minimum of 10 people, typically. And I would work with them, bringing through communications within that context. I mean, group readings are great because when you have a family or a group of close friends, people connected, there's a lot of harmony. And usually something like that, you know, we talk about having fun. Well, having fun scientifically is a good thing when it comes to spirit communications. Why? Because fun energy, playful energy, happy energy creates a positive, harmonious, enthusiastic vibration that is scientifically the type of atmosphere that you want for these types of communications. So when I was working one of these home gatherings, it was, generally speaking, always a really, really good situation. And people would be having a good time. But I always emphasized, it wasn't a party. It wasn't some type of, I'm the psychic entertainer going in there to give them a reading each, tell them the future. You know, I'd always pray. I would always explain what was taking place. Sometimes they would have food for before or after, or snacks to eat, because they would socially be getting together as well. But I was always emphasized to them, absolutely no drinking before or during the session. I mean, if people want to drink afterwards, that's something different. But I wouldn't want to go into some type of situation working with the spirit world and have everyone drinking. That's just the wrong kind of vibration to work with. Intoxication, drinking alcohol, does not mix with mediumship. You want to have a reverence for what's taking place. And this isn't just some type of bar room where you're hanging out or nightclub. It's sacred. There has to be the spirituality with what's taking place. You want to work with the highest and the best. You have to create that type of energy, that vibration around you as a medium, and ideally with the atmosphere of the people you're working with. So when you're working, maybe even an individual session with someone else and you're a medium, your prayer, your reverence toward the act has a lot to do with setting up the right types of conditions. Now, it's pretty easy to be open to the spirit world, and there's a lot of people where, hey, it's just something I do, I open up, no big deal, God's not involved, and you can go about it that type of way. But really, what we're doing with spirit communication, if we're going about it on the right type of way, it's really going to be about getting people in touch with themselves spiritually and connecting people with God. That's the higher purpose with this. And I want to encourage you with your development with mediumship. But the discipline that you cultivate is very, very important. How you go about doing it is very, very important. And when you think about it, every time we have an act of spirit communication, it's a blessing. I knew this one gentleman, and he really didn't have a lot of discipline for what he was doing, unfortunately, and I really feel his training was insufficient. But he was just into every day, and he would brag to me about this. Steve, I give at least 100 readings a day. Total strangers. He'd just walk up to people. He'd be at the hardware store. He'd go give them a message. When he went to the dentist, every single person in the reception area waiting for the dentist, he'd give them a message. He'd start giving a reading to the lady, the receptionist. And then he'd go in and he'd give the dental hygienist a reading and the dentist a reading. I mean, he'd just be reading everyone. He's wide open to the spirit world, 24/7. He'd never turn it off. No reverence for what was taking place. And really, the quality's not going to be there. When we create a spiritual vibration, when we go up to a higher type of level, those higher spirits in the dimensions of light, they put so much effort to get closer to us. With mediumship training, you can always expand. You can always improve. But you really want to bring in the right types of conditions for what you're doing. And you might be working with the general public or just someone who really just doesn't know that much about it. But try to approach it in a spiritual way. There's a seriousness when it comes to mediumship that needs to be there. It's not just something someone should be playing around with, or I don't even need the training, I'm just going to do it. I just watched it on TV, or I went to the online mediumship chat room, and now I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do gallery readings. I'm going to do readings for people. I'm going to charge money. Things like this. People get into this sometimes, and there's just insufficient training. So if you've liked this video, please subscribe. Please check out my other videos on my channel. I'm really into the whole training aspect of it. I'm really into helping other people with their growth. Please add your comments below, and may God bless each and every one of you.